Hello world, welcome to the 203rd video on my channel where I'm building my own digital assistant named Shane, like Jarvis from the Iron Man movies and comics. Please consider subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and leaving a comment on if you play an MMORPG. So I'm a big fan of massive multiplayer online role-playing games or MMORPGs, especially ones that have a real functioning economy in them. And so I started off playing EVE Online a long time ago, and I played it for about 2 years, and it kind of became an obsession. And so I just quit cold turkey. But at the peak, we were in a medium-sized, what they call corporation, with about 200 players. And the way EVE Online and now this game, the game I play now called Albion Online play, is the game releases a basic set of kind of information or code, and then the players gather materials, mine them, whatever it's called in the game, and then create the items and materials that you need to play the game, versus other games which just create it for you, and there's almost an infinite supply. And so since there's not an infinite supply, there's a real functioning market where you can buy and sell things, and it's very similar to kind of a hyper-capitalist economy, right? And so I played EVE Online. We were known as Care Bears because there are different levels of security in the games that allow you to play without fighting other players, known as player versus player or PvP. And that's where I'm not a big fan of fighting people, and so real people. And so we just had this high security place, and my job was to download all the market data, because EVE Online lets you download it directly from the game. And then all day long I would just play in Excel, which is why EVE Online is called a Excel simulator. And so I've gone beyond EVE, and now I play Albion. I play by myself. I'm not interested in a massive corporation because it was a part-time job basically. And so now I just play casually, but to play the game efficiently, you need to understand the market. Now the game does not have its own API, but there's an Albion Online Data project which tries to crowdsource information to give you that API. And that's what we're going to do in this video. I have no intention of making a real application or competing with any other website. So we're just going to explore the different things you can do. And basically, we're just going to use requests to scrape the data and then use URLs, custom URLs, to figure out the data we need. So we're going to start off by importing requests. We'll skip this for now because we'll use this for historical prices. But the first thing we're going to do is look at current prices. So if you go to the albion-online-data.com, you can kind of see the different options you have. So here is a sample URL that you would pull to look at the current prices either in a table view or JSON view of a T4 bag, a T5 bag, locations in Carleone and Bridgewatch, and qualities too. So what's known as a 4 or 5.2 bag. You click on there and you get a JSON file of the prices. Okay? So that's an example. And we can use that in Python. So the first thing we're going to do is build the URL, right? So the first thing is the price URL equals this, right? Basically the first part of this URL right here, up to prices. And then I've created a list. And these are the properly formatted titles of the two resources that I focus on. So let's check out what that is. So I have a URL right here that goes into the data dump. So let's look at the items text. All right, so we can see that let's look for wheat soup. Wheat soup, there we go. And generic or, basic tier 0 T3 meal soup is what they call meal soup. And we have that here, T3 meal soup. Make sure you have the underscores. And then I also am a wood gatherer. So let's look at cedar planks. And generic cedar planks are just called T5 planks. Make sure it's capitalized. Basically copy and paste it from here. All right, and then location. So I want to look at Lyndhurst. That's where I hang out at. I know it's not optimal. I'm not really interested in the highest percentage, the most efficient, right? That's how I kind of lost my mind. And EVE Online is scraping out percentages of fractions of a percentage just to have the most amount of digital money. And when I quit the game, I had like $1 trillion something, several billions of dollars of just this fake currency. And so I don't know. I'm not as obsessive, probably because I'm a old man and I'm a dad and all that with a real job. And so, but either way, I'm in Lyndhurst. So that's the location we want. The quality is 0, right? Because I'm looking at T3 meal soup and T5 plank. So quality is 0. So that means it's a 5.0 item. If you want, changing this to 1 would be a 5.1 or a 4.1 or 6.1, 2, 3, and now 4. But anyways, we're gonna skip this tracker for now. This is how I pull. This is how I get information when we do historical, which we'll skip right now. We'll skip this right here, skip this right here, and then I'm gonna create an empty dictionary to put our current price data. So current price data equals, and this. And then for each item in items of interest, so what we're doing is we're going to do a for loop. First do this one, then do this one. So right now we're at T3 meal soup. Then the item name equals item. So the first one is T3 wheat soup, or meal soup I think it's called, which is the item name. And then we're going to build our URL to look like this right here. So what we're going to do is say the current price response equals requests.get. So the price URL, if you remember, is right here. And then we're adding, right? We're concatenating the item name, which right now is T3 meal soup, plus this string right here, because we want the locations and we want it in a JSON file, equals location, which is Lyndhurst right now, if you remember. The qualities equals 0, so qualities plus 0. And now we've built a URL. So if the current price dot status code equals 200, 200 is the status code for request to mean you've successfully touched the website. Then I'm going to say market prices equals the current price response dot JSON, the 0th index, which is the item name, and then the sell price minimum. So what did I just talk about? So let's say we do, this is what it looks like right here. So this is the 0th index right here. The item bag for us is T3 meal soup. And then what we want is the sell price minimum. I don't want the buy price, right? That I'm not interested in. I'm looking in the sell price minimum, which is that first one right here. So right now we have a number, which I'll show you what it looks like. So we can print that out like this if we want. So the current price, well, we're doing an F formatted string. The current price, market price for item name, which will start with T3 meal soup and then go to T5 planks, in Lyndhurst is market prices, which is only one price, silver. But then I'm going to add that to a list. So item name, market prices. And then if for some reason you did the URL wrong, we print out failed to retrieve market data, and you can just try to improve your URL to make sure it's right. So let's print that out, right? So this is just the current prices. Now, like I said, this is crowdsource data. So if you get a blank JSON like I did for T3 meal soup, for some reason there's nothing collected for the prices of for the T3 meal soup. So, and I'll show you that in the historical price. But for now, since we're printing out this string right here, the current market price for T3 meal soup in Limhurst is 1968 silver, and I just came from playing, and that sounds exactly right. The current price for T5 planks in Limhurst is 486 silver, which sounds exactly right. And now I have this cool dictionary that we can use for something else I'll show you. All right, so that is historical price, or that is the current price, right? But you can also look at historical prices, but this doesn't work very well for me. Not sure why it's doing this, but let me show you what this looks like. So print the result. So now what we're going to do is we are going to do the same thing, but now we're going to use this method right here. This history, the historical prices. And so now the URL, instead of using this right here, this price URL, I just made it explicit. So history plus the item name. So we're still in the for loop. So this will be T3 meal price plus the time scale equals 24, which is daily. And then same thing before. If the historical response is 200, then we're going to put that data. We're going to get that data from the JSON. Then for the D in data, I just want the location. If the location equals Limhurst or the location equals 1000. So let's look at what that is real quick. So item IDs can be here. Let's do the world text. And let's look for 1000. And there we go. That is Limhurst. So if it's Limhurst, or location 1000, then we're going to take this result, right? Just like we did the current price data, kind of. The result is up here. We're going to append the data to that. Same thing if we have a failed, it'll say failed to retrieve market data. And now we're going to print the result, right? So I took away these print. So right now we're just going to get historical data. All right, so now we have T3 meal soup, the item count, and we have a long JSON of the historical data for both of these things. And so I don't want quality data from a long time ago. So what I did was create a function that's going to take the timestamp, and for that we're going to import datetime. From datetime, import datetime and time delta. And then the datetime dot strip the time. This is the way that it comes in the JSON. So all we're doing is making this a object, datetime object. I need today's date, so datetime dot now. I want to see the last 30 days, so 1 month ago equals now minus the time delta of days 30. Right, so it's going to subtract that. If I added it, it'd be going forward and you wouldn't get any data. All right, so the result dot append. So let's see what we do with this custom function. And now we can iterate over the data. And now for the item in result, so the result had that huge JSON right here. We want this item data equals data. We want the timestamp, right? So parse timestamp, it's going to come up here, right here, pass it the timestamp we just got. And then if it's less than or equal to 1 month ago, so everything within the 30 days, then we're going to, so if the filtered item data is within the 30 days, then I want the location, the item ID, the quality, and then the data, right? So now we're just going to have a smaller JSON, and I'll print it just to show you. So now we just have, instead of before this one right here, if we didn't add Limhurst and 1000, we would get all the historical data for all of the locations where T3 wheat, soup, and planks are done. So now we have a smaller JSON, even though it doesn't look like it, for the last 30 days of it. All right, so that's the two ways that you can use the request to get the data. Like I said, I'm not going to show you an application or anything, but here's kind of what I would probably use it for is, let's run this. And what I did was create a dash Plotly dash website. This is kind of what it would look like. Hold on, give it a second. It's loading, it's pulling the data right now, and it's going to show the prices. And because I'm recording this video, it's taking longer than it should. But let's try to run it again. There we go. So T3 meal soup, the current market price for is 1968 silver. We can switch to planks and it switches to 486 silver. So that's just one of the ways I wanted to do this. Maybe when Shane is fully up and running, I'm planning to have a market or a morning dashboard, because before I go to the gym, I go on the line. But it would be nice to have everything here for me, and one of them maybe just the Albion online market prices. So that's one way. That was using the current data. So same thing, it's all the same code, but this time I put it in a pandas data frame, and then I made a dash website with an item drop down that shows the value and then returns that market price. I don't think I finished this one yet, but I think I plotted out. Yeah, let's see what this one looks like. And this one I'm using just Plotly, not Plotly dash, but here we go. So this is just a look at T5 planks at Limhurst. And for some reason, the data only pulls from March 13th to March 20th. I don't know why, but you can kind of get a historical trend. So if you want to get really fancy with your own personalized charts and everything, you can do that. And that's all I have. So I hope you use this, and I hope it makes you a better Albion Online player. Leave a comment if you want to meet each other in Albion. And thanks for watching. Goodbye, world.